So, good day, everyone. I am John Vincent Sama from Disabet 33. So, today I will discuss how computers work internally, and I will explain how the CPU works and how it evolves uh, from time to time, and also the role of the GPU or the overview GPU, and also the operations and programming of SAP1. So, these topics will help us understand how instructions are processed inside the computer. So, first is how the CPU works. So, the CPU or the central processing unit is the main component responsible for processing the instructions. Also, it controls all the operations inside the computers and performs calculations needed by programs. So, the CPU has three main parts: the control unit, the arithmetic logic unit, or the ALU, and the registers. So first is the control unit. It directs the flow of the data and tells other components what to do. So for example, when a user opens an application, this control unit fetches the required instructions from memory and makes sure they are executed in the correct order. So next is the ELU. It is responsible for arithmetic and logical operations. So basically performs basic calculations such as additions and subtractions. Uh, for example, if the computer needs to calculate 10 plus 5, the ELU performs the operations and produces the output or the result. So the last is the registers are which are the small but the very fast memory locations inside the central processing unit. They temporarily store data and instructions being used. So one example is that the program counter, which keeps track of the next instruction to be executed. So the CPU follows a process called the fetch, decode, and execute cycle. So first, it fetches the instruction of from the memory, and next it decodes the instructions to understand what needs to be done, and finally it executes the instructions. So these cycles repeats continuously. So next discussion is the evolution of the CPU. So I've watched four from part one to part four YouTube video link. So first is the part one, which is the early CPU design. So in the first stage of the CPU evolution, the computers did not yet have a CPU and a single chip. So early computers were built using the vacuum tubes and later it transistors. So these machines were very large, slow, and consume a lot of electrical power. So instructions were processed one at a time, and even simple calculations took a long time to complete. So at this stage, the CPUs had a very limited capabilities. They could only perform basic arithmetic and logical operations. So programming was done using machine language, which was difficult and error prone. So these early CPUs were mainly used in scientific calculations and government projects. So next is the part two. of the video link that I watched is the introductions of registers and buses. So, in the second stage of CPU evolutions, registers and buses were introduced to improve the performance. So, basically, registers are small but fast memory locations inside the CPU that stores temporarily data and instructions. So buses were added to allow the data to move efficiently between the CPU, memory, and the other components. So this improvement or evolutions reduce the need to access main memory frequently, which made the instructions execution faster. So data buses carry the actual data, addresses buses specified memory locations, and control buses manage control signals. With these additions, CPUs became more organized and efficient. So next is the part three of the video link that I've watched is the clock speed and integration. So the third stage of evolutions focus on the synchronizations and speed. So a clock signal was introduced to coordinate all the CPU's operations. So each clock cycles represented a unit of time in which a specific actions occurred. So as clock speeds increase, the CPUs could execute more instructions per second. So during this stage, the more CPUs components were integrated with a single chip. So this reduced size, power consumption, and increased reliability. Integrated circuits replace older designs and leading to faster and more compact CPUs. So last of the video link that I watched is the modern CPU architecture. So this last stage represents the modern CPU design, which modern CPUs use multiple cores, allowing them to execute several tasks at the same time. So the techniques such as pipelining enable overlapping instructions executions, uh, improving efficiency and performance. So cache memory was also introduced uh, to store frequently used data closer to the CPU. So basically, this reduces the memory into access time and significantly increase the speed. So these features allow modern CPUs to handle or complex applications, multitasking, gaming, and data processing efficiently. So that's the four video link that I've watched. So next, I'll be discussing the overview of the CPU. So So what I mean is the overview of the GPU. So the GPU, which is the graphics processing unit, so it is a specialized processor designed to handle parallel processing tasks. So unlike the CPU, which usually has a few powerful cores that focus on general purpose computing, the GPU has hundreds or thousands of smaller cores. So these cores allow it to perform many calculations simultaneously. So which makes itself, the GPU is ideal for tasks that required processing large amounts of data at the same time. So the primary role of the GPU, or the graphics processing unit, is to handle graphics and the image processing. For example, when a video game renders a 3D game or the 3D scene, every pixel on the screen needs to have its color, light, and texture calculated. So a CPU would be too slow to do this efficiently because it can only handle a few operations at the same time. Unlike the GPU, on the other hand, it can process thousands of pixels simultaneously, so producing smooth and realistic graphics. So today, GPUs are not only used for graphics, but they are essentials in artificial intelligence, or what we call AI, machine learning, uh, cryptocurrency mining, and scientific computing, because these applications are required um, massive parallel calculations. So, for instance, so when training a neural network, a GPU can process multiple data points at once, and dramatically reducing computations time compared to using the CPUs alone. So, example is the I mean, uh, editing an high resolution video. Each frame of the video requires thousands of calculations for color corrections, filters, and effects. So the GPS handles these calculations simultaneously, so allowing the video to render much faster than the CPUs were doing it sequentially. So in summary, of this overview of GPUs is that GPUs complement CPUs by taking over tasks that involves large scales repetitive calculations, while the CPUs handles general logic, decision making, and instructions management. So while the GPUs accelerates computations that can run in parallel, making modern computers nowadays capable of handling graphics intensive applications like the AI and also data heavy workloads efficiently. So that's all the overview of the GPU, which are the graphics processing unit. So next part that I'll be discussing is the SAP1 operations, or the simple as possible computer. So basically, it is a basic educational CPU model designed to help us understand um, how computers process instructions internally. So um, it is a 8-bit system with a very small memory, usually 16 bytes, and it has a limited set of instructions. So despite of its simplicity, um, SAP1 demonstrates the key components and processes of the CPUs in a way that it's easy to follow. So the main components of SAP1, it includes the program counter, which keeps the track of the address of the next instructions. Next is the memory address registers, or the MER, and the memory data registers, which is the MDR, which handle data transfer between memory of the CPU. So next is the instructions registers, which is the IR, which stores the current instructions. So next is the accumulator, which holds the results of the calculations. Also, we have the V V registers. Uh, it is used as temporary storage. So next is the ALU that I talked about earlier, which performs arithmetic operations. And last but not the least is the output registers, which shows the final results. So when SAP1 computer executes the instructions, so it follows a step-by-step process. So for example, uh, in an add instructions, the um, control unit first fetches the instruction from the memory. So it loads the operands into the V registers. So the ALU adds its to the value in the accumulator, and finally the restore the result is stored back in the accumulator. So this process how the the same principles as modern CPUs, just simplified. So last that I'll be discussing is the SAP1 programming. So basically, the programming of SAP1 is done using the machine language, which is the most basic language a computer can understand. So each instructions um each instructions is binary code. So it divided into two main parts. The opcode, which tells the computers what operations to perform, and the operand, which usually points to the memory address where the data is stored. So SAP1 is has a very limited set of instructions, but each one clearly shows how a CPU executes programs. Common instructions include LDA to load data into the accumulator, and add to uh, add, which is to add a value from memory, and the sub, which is the to subtract, and the out, which is uh to send a result to the output. And last but not least is the HLT, which is to stop the program. So even though these instructions are simple, they demonstrate the core steps of the programming of a computer. So fetching instructions, decoding intents to understand what needs to be done, and executing the operations and storing or outputting the result. So even though SAP1 is very simple, it programming teaches us several important concepts. So first is how the CPUs reads and executes instructions step by step. Also, um, how memory and registers interact during the execution. So, uh, also how arithmetic operations are handled by the ALU. So, also we have the how. the output is generated from computations. So in short, SAP 1 programming shows the foundation of all computer programs, even those are running on the modern CPUs. Um, every complex program we use today, we like games, apps, or operating systems, it still follow the same basic principles, just on a much larger and more complex scale. So um, here is my discussion of all the topics that I've that I've said. Um, thank you for listening, and I hope you gain knowledge and knowledge about the topics that I've discussed. So thank you.